Slight change of plans today. Instead of bringing you a Premier League game, I thought to myself, well, the focus on this part of the save is the Champions League. So instead of bringing you a random game against either Sheffield United or Newcastle, we're just going to go and bring you two Champions League games. So PSV is going to be the other game, along with the big one against Inter Milan. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 10 of Club 4 here on MyCareer on FM23. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, where we are going to play the two games as mentioned. PSV first, followed by Inter Milan. What could possibly go wrong? And if you're excited to see how we get on in both of those games, do not forget to leave a like on the video for me and subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense that comes out of this space right here. Since you're last with us, it's going very, very well, I have to say. I am impressed. Obviously, you were here for the Tottenham Renee games. It's not been a bigger gap as I normally leave, mainly due to England, but also due to just wanting to play games. But we have played against teams like Southampton, 1-1 draw. Spurs again, 3-2 win in the EFL Cup. So we are through to a quarter-final against West Ham. Speaking of which, beat them 4-1. Champions League, Juventus, got a late draw against them. Arsenal battered them 3-1, and we just played Leicester, beat them 3-0. That one was very nice indeed. Late win, but we won nonetheless. Carl Ratcliffe currently in the form, 4 goals in his last 2. Has to be said as well, Hishek, when he's played, for the most part, he's been okay. Got 2 goals there. I mean, I say that. 2 goals there. Hasn't really appeared anywhere else. He had this period over here where he was superb. And in the goals, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then he disappeared for a bit. Reappeared for 2 games. Disappeared, well, 1 game actually, and disappeared again. So actually, he's been quite inconsistent when you look at it like that. But results have been good. We had that first loss of the season against Tottenham, as you know. But other than that, everything's looking rosy. The Premier League table currently looking like that. Erling Haaland has overtaken Alan Skinner as the top goal scorer in the league. Erling's world, we just live in it. Look at the stats. I mean, he's 32 years old and he still looks like that. I mean, his goal record is ridiculous if you look back. Saying that, look at his goal record actually. 21 there, 17, 20, 18, 20. Those first 5 seasons, nothing out of the ordinary. Then he gets 35. Then average, top end of normal. Really, relatively top end of normal. Last season was ridiculous. This season currently looking like he's ridiculous as well. So, he's not been the Erling Haaland you would expect. But, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it. But there's still time for Alan Skinner to overtake him. Having said that, Skinner is by far and away the best player in the league. Because as well as being second here, he's also top of the assist chart. Mason Mount is currently second on that. Carl Ratcliffe, he's just kind of the best of both worlds. He's just great with link-up play. And again, clean sheet-wise, we're not necessarily the best. But we've got the best goals scored and best goals conceded. Again, we concede goals regularly, but it's only 1. We don't concede a lot of goals on the regular. We're very good at defending on the most part, but none of that is important. What is important is the Champions League today. And speaking of which, here is the Champions League phase. We are currently in 10th after everyone's played 4 games, and that is with a record of 2 wins, 2 draws. So we're currently in the kind of playoff zone. So we would go through to a playoff if we were to finish in this area. We want to finish in this area so we don't have to do that and we get a bit of a break. That's my aim. So let's see whether we can beat Paris Saint-Germain, PSV, I keep doing that. PSV Eindhoven, who currently, if we have a look, where are they? Where? They're there. So they're in the same zone as we are, but we're 10th, they're 18th. They've got 2 wins, 2 losses. So they're one way or the other. They don't tend to draw very much. So be interesting to see how we do. But this is the 11 we're going to be using today. It's Dimitri in goal, James, Derica, Bayrak and Boa in defence, Balaric, Tapia and Heroldt in the midfield with Febre at the tip of the diamond, with Skinner and Ratcliffe up front. Tapia plays because we currently have a tired Mason Mount, and Tapia played in the last game as a Mazzala as a substitute actually, and did a decent job. So I'm going to trust him to do that decent job today, hopefully. So let's see whether he can. Sebastian Borneau, by the way, in the PSV side. We know him from our time at Southampton. He was the club captain. We actually, move the microphone, ended up shifting him on because we didn't think he was good enough and didn't really impress us as much as we thought he would, perhaps. So we ended up shifting him on. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on today. Knowing our luck, he'll end up battering us. Right, Start things out with, well, PSV trying to get an attack going. They don't really do very well with it, and we get possession. Right. Boa to Herold, who played quite well in the last game, as did Tapia. Tapia now looking for Skinner. Skinner runs on with it, goes wide, went for the shot, should have pulled it across goal. He got an assist or two in the last game, and one of the assists was to Ratcliffe, so they kind of reversed roles. But Ratcliffe came off the bench in the last game. We started with Hijek. Didn't really play that well, Hijek, which is a bit of a disappointment considering the form he has been in at times this season. Also disappointing Nathan Mackie. Not fully got into his kind of level yet, which is a bit disappointing. That was offside. So, you know, it was one of those games. But the subs who came on did change the game for us. And I think we've started with the best 11 that we have available to us today. Obviously, Mason Mount would be someone we'd have in the team, but fitness is going to be fitness. We're just going to rest him. I want to see big things from Balaric today. I don't necessarily want him to be doing things left, right and centre. I just don't want him to have a bad game. That's the thing. As long as it's a 6.8 or above, I will be happy. He's currently on 6.7. I'd sort of accept that. Boa to Herold now. Herold gets into the box. I see, he went to Balaric down. Balaric went for a worldie, but he got blocked off. Herold really should have had a crack at it there, and I wouldn't have been mad at him if he had done and missed it because he was in a good position. Right, James now running down the right-hand side. Had a bit of a break from the team because he wasn't playing that well. We've restored him since the last game. Did quite well in the last game. Starting out okay so far as I can see. Another player who did well in the last game was Fachenna, the backup left back for Boa, and he had a really good game when he was used, actually. I think he came on as a sub. I don't think he started, but when he came on, did really well, got himself an assist. Top marks from Stu. Right, February into Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe gets it to Herold. Herold now back into Ratcliffe. That was lovely. And PSV are defending for their lives at the moment. Skinner on a poor rating, but honestly, he's had chances and he's been in and around there. But Ratcliffe has been the main man, but even he's not having a great game at the moment. Right, Luca heads it out to Tapia. Tapia had it, but the highlight ends. But Hector February, bearing in mind Mackie didn't have a good game last time out, Hector February having a decent game, which is good to see. And we're cutting them off quite nicely when they're trying to get stuff going here. Right, Balaric now. Over to Dorica. Dorica, who really could do with a good game. He had a decent game last time out, but his England spell wasn't very good. It'd be nice to see him have some good time. Right, February does really well there. Tries to get it into Skinner, but it's ended up with February again. And Hector February has got his 5th goal of the season. And, well, that'll do for me. I mean, I've talked about February and Mackie. I don't know whether I talked about it to you guys, actually, or whether I've just thought about it, but Mackie and February, I'm kind of thinking when Mason Mount retires, whether that's the end of this season or whether he leaves at the end of this season, we've obviously got avoiding that Mazzala position. I'm thinking either Tapia, February, or Mackie could fill that position. And then we've got the potential to bring in a worldly attacking midfielder, or put Hijek there, because Hijek can play there and he can do it quite well. He can do the deep line forward role quite well, and that's kind of a second one of those. So we've got a few decent options for when Mason Mount retires, but I just wanted to mention it. Oh my god, if that had gone in, probably wouldn't have been out of this chair because there's not enough room in this room for me to get out of this chair with dignity, but I'd have been tempted to. But the important thing about this game is we lead. But yeah, I think both of them could do well, but actually February's starting to convince me that he's the man for that position. So I'm quite happy. And I mean, you know, Tapia really is a good enough player to start every game. So if we end up starting him and we bring in someone else to be a backup playmaker, because at the moment that is what Tapia has ended up being, but obviously with Mount in the squad, he's going to be starting every game that he's available for. I think long term, this could be the midfield. Balaric, Tapia, Herold and February, unless we bring a worldly midfielder in or put Hijek there. It's definitely one of the options. Ratcliffe into Skinner. Skinner surely finishes it. He does. The flag isn't up. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not offside. It will go to VAR. Skinner, who's not had a decent game, that would be really nice if he and Ratcliffe can link up there. It has been given. Thank goodness for that. Bayrak starting things off, coming into the opposition half. Gets it to Boa. Boa turns, looks up. Nice pass into Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe sees the pass to Skinner, and Skinner drills it into the bottom corner. The strikers haven't had the best of games, but they do link up to double our lead. It is 2-0, 5 minutes before the stroke of half-time. Dubo approves, and that is half-time, and we lead, which is lovely. Just tell them that we're pleased with them. No one's on a yellow card. We'll leave things as they are other than that and carry on the game. Well, this is going awfully well. I'm very happy with it, and it puts us second as things stand, which it gets us into the Goldilocks zone, as I like to call it. So I'll be happy with that. Heralt is tiring though, so we will have to do something about that. I think Tapia will end up going into the playmaker role, take Heralt off, and we'll bring on... I don't know who we'll bring on, actually. We've got a couple of options on the bench that we'll have a look at. We'll see who we decide to bring on. Right, February into Tapia. Tapia now looking for options into Skinner. Skinner into Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe looking for a ball out. Gets it to Reece James. Reece James runs on with it a bit. He's going to go to the touchline or near enough. Cuts into Tapia, actually. Tapia whips it in. Looking for the header. I think Ratcliffe couldn't find it. And Conceição has the ball. I could have butchered that pronunciation. I apologise if I did. But PSV trying to build something up here. Reece James, man on a mission there. Gets to Skinner, into February. Gotta be 3, surely. It's not. And actually, Van der Blaak manages to make the save for the corner. Very impressive there from Van der Blaak. Very impressive indeed, actually. Right, substitute o'clock. Heralt is going to come off for Nicholas Harris, and we'll swap him and Tapia around. Give Tapia the playmaking duties and put Mazzalo duties onto Nicholas Harris. And I'm tempted to take Reece James off, although he's looked like he's played well. Actually, his rating is not that good and he is tiring. So Ed Milson can come on, and I think we'll leave it at that for now. We've got 2 yellow cards to keep an eye on as well. But I think that will do for just now. We'll give it another few minutes before we make another change. Balarik currently at 6.9. I said minimum I wanted a 6.8 today. He's literally on that limit. But again, we're not necessarily against a big team who are big right now. So I can understand that maybe, just maybe, he's not coming up against competition that he needs to be worried about. I will bring Facena on though. And Facena, who did we sign him from? PSV. Makes sense to bring him on. And then we'll also take off, I think, Balarik as well. He's had a decent game. We'll take him off more because don't want him to get another yellow card. And also, he's had a decent game. Bring Declan Rice on for a few more minutes. And then we'll save the final substitution for the 80th minute, there or thereabouts. Right, let's see the game out, shall we? A third goal would do that beautifully for me. I would be delighted. And the final change, we might end up bringing Pinamonti on because we haven't played him properly in a while. So we'll see what happens here. Right, ball in. It's Tapia to Harris. Harris now into Declan Rice. Declan Rice out wide to Facena. Facena back to Tapia. Facena now on the ball. Lovely little back heel from him, actually. Tapia and Facena working really well there. Big ball out. Gets it all the way to Ed Milson, actually. We're working something here, and we really should have ended up with a goal there. Disappointing, but we do, I think, have a corner, but I am going to make a change. We'll take Skinner off, and we'll bring on Pinamonti. I'm tempted to bring on Thank God Abaje, but we're going to bring on Pinamonti because really he should be getting more football. He was one of our top goal scorers last season. Probably deserves a bit more respect than what we've shown him this year. But Skinner's just been that good and Ratcliffe has been good as well. Right, corner for February. Into the box. Looking for Bayrak. Can't find him. It's headed out as far as Harris though. Nicholas Harris. Goes back to Ed Milson. Doesn't actually start to build the play up, but now we build again. Derica. Back to Ed Milson. Ed Milson now into Harris. Harris. Looking for a ball. Gets it. Tries to get to Ratcliffe, but Van der Blaak clears it out for a throw-in. Good work from Van der Blaak, actually. I'm sure he's probably not going to be that good. But he's played well from what... Well, rating's not great. I mean, he's a real player, 27 years old. All right, he's nothing special, but he's played well today. I'll give him credit. I mean, his rating isn't that good. Apparently, Borneau's been the best defender. I would dispute that. But we do win 2-0. Job done. That's exactly what we needed to do. And now we go to the bigger game against Inter Milan with a Sheffield United game sandwiched in between. So I am going to go and play the Sheffield United game. Then we'll be back for the game against Inter Milan. Inter Milan, who, by the way, as it stands, are having a shocker. 4 games, 1 point. Must win for them. We, meanwhile, top of the league stage. However, there are teams like PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, FC Utrecht. Utrecht. I couldn't say that for a second. FC Utrecht, of course, who haven't played that game extra, so could be overtaken by all of those. But it's all going well so far. Everything is coming up Millhouse. I've used that as a thumbnail before. I'm not going to use that today. So let's see whether winning the Premier League, and fingers crossed, we can go into the Inter game with the best morale possible. One Alan Skinner hat-trick later against Sheffield United, and we did win that game 3-1, which does leave the Premier League table looking like this. Currently a 4-point gap at the top, and we've got a game to play on Manchester City. Southampton did lose their last game. They have dropped back a little bit, but that hat-trick has actually returned Alan Skinner to the top of the goal-scoring charts, an 8.35 rating, and he's still top of assists as well. Nice. So, with that, time for the game against Inter Milan, and this is 11. that we're going to be putting out there. It is Dimitri in goal, James, Derica, Albergi and Boa in defence. It's Balaric, Mount, Herald and Febray in the midfield with Skinner and Ratcliffe up front. It is arguably our best 11. The only kind of thing that I'm not sure about is whether Tapia actually makes it a better team. I think he actually does at this point, and the shift might be happening, but Mason Mount is relatively rested, so we're going to give him a chance. I mean, he's got 8 assists and a goal so far this season, so it's worth giving him the opportunity, but we're going to go in. I probably should have changed us from attacking to positive, but we'll see how it goes, and fingers crossed we don't suffer because of it. Also, and I haven't checked the date yet, we know the England Nations League semi-final opponent, it's going to be the Netherlands, so that's going to be a very interesting game. We'll have a look at that after this one. I know I'm attempting to try and keep England duty and Chelsea duty separate, but it came up, so it is what it is. We're also Manager of the Month. We've just won that. Awards kind of being handed out left, right and centre at this part of the season. We've done our vote for Best Player of the Year. We've also got a number of players on the Goal 50 Players of the Year. I'm pretty sure Skinner was definitely on there. Ratcliffe, I think, was on there, but he might not have been, actually. Bount was on there. Reece James was on there. A handful of our players made it onto that list, which was quite cool to see. So, happy days. I think Dimitri made it there as well. We have got some players on that list, which made me very, very happy. So, all good there. But none of our players were in the Best Player of the Year vote that the international managers get, so I put my votes in. Top one was Erling Haaland, because how could it not be? But we started off really well with possession here, but the longer we have possession and don't do anything with it, the more I will get concerned. Right, Ratcliffe now. I'm fairly confident Febray's offside there. It's in the back of the net. The linesman's flag's up. I'm pretty sure this is getting disallowed. It was a lovely goal, but the run just looked like it was offside. Let's confirm it. Yep, goal disallowed. Had a feeling. That feeling was correct. It's a shame. Nicely worked move, but Ratcliffe just waited a second too long. Yeah, he just can't quite see from there. He just dwelled on it a bit too long. Febray ran through, did everything right on his end, other than the timing of the run. Was it him? Was it Ratcliffe? I don't know who was at fault there, but nice movement though. We've proven we can put the ball in the back of the net. That is the main thing, so we just need to do it again now. Right, Merieles. Inter Milan have got a team that's got some golden oldies in there. But Derica has got a habit of giving penalties away. And it's really annoying. It's really, really frustrating. Now, the last time he did that, Dimitri saved it. I don't know whether Dimitri has got it in him again. Especially now I've mentioned it. I mean, Derica gets a yellow card. But can Dimitri save it? No, he can't. Lautaro Martinez, the veteran 35-year-old striker at this point. Yes, I did check before the game. Probably why he's ended up scoring. Puts Inter 1-0 ahead. And remember, Inter desperately need a win at the moment in the Champions League. So a loss here isn't terrible for us. It doesn't hurt us too badly, but Inter desperately, desperately need it. I'm going to encourage the boys just to see if we can get them cooking a little bit better. Right, Matt heads out. Only as far as Barella, the free kick taker, though. Danny Luke now on the ball. Got no one around him. He's going to go for the shot, isn't he? What a goal it is from Danny Luke. No pressure from our boys whatsoever. No pressure at all. And it's all of a sudden 2-0 to Inter Milan, and we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do. Well then. I mean, we said Inter Milan have got to really start playing better. They've got to start getting results. What a way to start. At home, and maybe we're a bit too attacking to start with. I don't know. We've left some gaps at the back. I mean, our defence really hasn't coped at all. I mean, Lelo's just running through us at the moment. And did anyone want to tackle him? Apparently not. Right, Balaric blocks Guiri's attempt at a cross. Febray now into Skinner. Skinner looking for options. Just lets it go to Bastoni, though. But the attacker in Inter Milan left the ball. I don't know if it was offside. Smart from him. Right, Balaric to Febray. Febray now out wide to Reece James. Reece James into Mount. We've got players swimming forward. Ratcliffe is there. Offside. I knew he was going to be offside. Disappointing that he was offside. Right, one thing I am going to do, we're going to change our distribution to fullbacks because they've got two strikers. They're going to be struggling to cope with it, our strikers are. I mean, our defenders are, and our defenders are having the worst game possible. I mean, our entire defence is at the moment, to be honest, which is really disappointing. But we need to get a couple of goals. I mean, we've had the chances. Just that they have been so efficient. Okay, one of those chances for them was a penalty. I'm going to demand more from the boys because it's been a shoddy start, and we've got a corner that we've given away. Right, Dorica heads it out, only as far, however, as Bastoni. Weird to have him on the edge of the area. I'd have had him attacking it, personally. Right, Daniluku scored an absolute worldie, running through. He's gone for another one, and Dimitri struggled with it. I mean, Dimitri's been solid for us, so it's a shock when he has a bad game. But he's had a bad one today. Our attack needs to do something, because we are struggling at the moment. And it's another highlight for Inter Milan. Guiri now looking for options. Barella looking for Thielman. Boa heads it down. I was a bit concerned for a second then, but we have possession back. Right, Dimitri. Go out wide to the fullback. Go out wide to him. He's absolutely free. He does. Reece James now. Doesn't have many options. Goes back to Dorica. Dorica just about deals with it. Right, Mason Mount into February. February. Big ball over the top to Skinner. Is he onside? I don't know. But Ratcliffe surely is. And Carl Ratcliffe makes it 2-1. We've got one back. Go and get the ball. Go and put it back. We've got a couple of minutes in added time. Let's go and try and get another one. But at least we end the half on a bit more of a high. But then, Inter have the kickoff. We've still got 2 minutes left of this half. So maybe there's time for them to get a third. Or there's time for us to get an equaliser. I like that one more, if I'm honest. Right, Lelo now, who's had a decent game from what I've seen. Gets it to Lautaro Martinez, who, again, 35-year-old, still a sharp shooter. Mireles has a good opportunity, but Dimitri does a great job there. Dimitri's rating has shot back up. Dorica and Alberghi, though. Wow, what a poor performance from them. They've been a relatively solid partnership, but today they just really haven't performed, and that's quite disappointing. Alberghi now heads out, though. Only as far as this Daniluk guy. Thielman now. Out wide to Guiri. Guiri into... Not even going to try it. He comes into the middle, though. It's a foul for February. It's a free kick. I demand more from the boys again, because we're having a shocker here. Was the end of added time in this half. I mean, Inter are a good team. They've just not had a good Champions League campaign. Right, Boa just heads it out wildly to Mireles. He could have let it come down and then dealt with it. Right, Quadralgo, I'm going to go with. Lautaro Martinez into Layla. Goes for the worldie. Hits it over. We have given away a lot of free kicks in that half. I'm not happy. I'm going to slam the defence, quite frankly. They've really not performed well. Right. Defenders are going to change. Reece James is off. Edmilson's on. Dorica's coming off. Bayrak's coming on. Those are the first two changes that we're making. Not even messing about at this point. February's tiring, but actually, I mean, if Mason Mount wasn't on a good rating, I would take him off. February's tiring, but he's actually playing okay. Everyone else is doing a decent job. Decent enough. Right, well. I'm going to try and trap boys outside. They've been crossing in. They've not really been crossing in. We're going to do that, and we're just going to try and block them a little bit more. And we're just going to tell everyone, not bad, and not happy with your finishing. Right. Fire up. Let's go and get an equaliser, boys, because we can get back in this. We've done it so many times in this save. We start with an Inter throw-in in our half, which is very concerning. Right, Boa manages to get possession back here. Gets it to Hurl, back to Balaric. Balaric now into Ratcliffe, but it's a loose bit of possession from Ratcliffe, who scored the equaliser. That's so disappointing for him. Ball in, but Bayrak's there, and we get the ball back again. Right, February has the ball. Don't do too much with it. Just pass it. There's a pass to Skinner. That's a great pass, and Skinner! Skinner! What an opportunity that was for Skinner. He should be burying that. It should be 2-2. It should be 2-2. Right, Balaric now has the ball. February. We're counter-attacking like absolute G's here. Right, ball into Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe goes back out wide to Boa. Boa in to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe into the box. February's there. I think there's interference from Skinner. I don't think it's going to matter, though. And February does get the equaliser. And we're back in the game. Oh my god, we are so good if we go behind at finding a way to come back. Not all the time, but most of the time we know that we can outscore teams. And Hector February is cementing that place. I thought Nathan Mackie was starting to get there. But Hector February really is making that place his own. Alberghi, before we do anything, I am berating him. He has had such a poor game. And I'm going to demand more from Balaric as well. I want more from Balaric. They might not be happy about it, but I just want that to spark something into them. Because both of them not playing well. Now, I am actually going to move Bayrak and Albergi around, because I played them the other... Did I play them the other way around? I just got a feeling about doing that. Right, we've made 2 changes. I'm tempted to make a third just to spice things up and just freshen things up. And I'm going to take Balarik off for Declan Rice. That leaves us 2 changes to make. And we'll just see if that freshens things up a little bit more as well. I think we still have 2 periods to make changes because the changes we first made were at half time. Right. Can we get a winner? I'm going to fire the boys up. Let me just double check. Yeah, 2 stoppages. So we've still got 1 stoppage left after this one. I'm going to make 1 change. I am going to take Mason Mount off for Diego Tapia. Give Tapia a chance. Just finds the route into getting a goal for us. And again, I'm just going to... Albergi's just not having a good game. But we are at final substitute o'clock. I'm not going to take Burrow off for Facena. Or am I? No, do you know what? I am going to take him off for Facena. Give Facena a chance in the game. Because he's got really good delivery. I'm just going to tell Albergi to calm down. Bayrak I'm going to demand more from. We are running out of time here, but a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world for us. We've got a winner though. February whips it in. Looking for Bayrak, who just heads it onto the roof of the net. What an opportunity that is for Bayrak. That's probably going to be the last one of the game. I can't imagine we'll get another highlight here. And that is going to be time. We've done well to come back in that game. We've shown great bounce back ability. But disappointing we went down to 2 quick goals like that after the disallowed goal from Hector February. I mean, we dominated the game really. We should have had another goal according to XG. Passes completed was better. Possession was better. We did commit more fouls though. But really, we edged that. But we did play okay. The defence though, I mean, you 3, really poor. Really, really poor from the defence. Dimitru did a great job in the end. Like, really stepped it up. Didn't have a great start, but really stepped it up in the end. So, fair play to him. Fair play to him for working it out. But, you know what? It's avoiding defeat. We've only had 1 defeat in the Champions League so far, and that was against Dortmund. Dortmund, by the way, who are really struggling since then, actually. Really struggling indeed. And Inter, my word, they are really having a bad time. We, on the other hand, after 6 games, 3rd on 12 points. 2nd best goal difference in the league stage from the looks of things as well, which is really good to see. Right, before I forget, England. Let's go to schedule and have a look at when we next have international football guaranteed. I mean, it's not actually on here. Is it next year? It's in the summer. So, yeah, we'll have Nations League action in the summer. I imagine we'll have friendlies in the rest of the year. That hasn't been arranged yet. I'll get round to doing that. But from a Chelsea point of view, that's been very successful. I'll take a draw. I've got no issue with that. The win against Sheffield United is great. The bank balance is awful. Ignore that. It's fine. I promise you. But up next, we've got Newcastle United, which you obviously won't be seeing. Speaking of which, though, when are we going to be back? When are you next going to see us in Chelsea colours? Well, we'll play through the remainder of December. We've got a lot of games in December. And we've got quite a few games in January as well. So I think I have been coming back in and around January. But what I'm going to do, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, how many games have we got in the Champions League? 1, 2. We've got 2 more Champions League games. I'm pretty sure we're qualified, or at least through to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure. So we'll have 8 games. So that's 6 points. Not completely mathematically possible, but it's more or less mathematically possible. So I think it's safe to assume we'll be through to the Champions League's next stage. I'm going to play through these games. We might come back in and around the back ends of the Champions League stage here. So maybe come back for Lyon and Man City, or Lyon and Bournemouth, something like that. And then we'll go through to the next part of the Champions League and we'll see how things are going. And in and around there, we'll probably have another England episode. That sounds like a plan to me. So, until then, thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so. And you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.